I'm going to start this morning with the Times. Farrell foresees game of defence and attack. Here's the headline over the Andy Farrell press conference stuff. And John Klein, it's a great honour to represent my adopted country. At this stage, John Klein will be playing for Ireland in the World Cup, and whatever the rules are, however he got there at this point, I imagine most Irish rugby fans are going to be behind him whenever he comes on.
Yeah, he got there the same way as Bundy, and you know, I think, you know, he's going to have an Irish jersey on, and I don't see anybody hoping he drops the ball and knocks it on. No. Although if he does knock it on, I can see people going, Jesus.
Yeah, he certainly has a target on his back too. Bullish Hog in Scotland primed to make it really big in Japan. So Gavin Cumsky is with the Scottish team. Scotland are good. We've been like, Scotland, sure, we always beat them. But we don't. We definitely don't. We certainly don't always beat them first up. It could be 21-0.
It's worrying me that game is small, but just how unpredictable and how good they can be at times. But this Daily Star has gone with your Bard, UEFA tell Delaney he's not invited to top brass meeting. And another one at the top there, Cooper, we're not robots. So Johnny Cooper has told Dublin critics that Jim Gavin's players are not robots.
That's the interview he did last night off the ball, just to get the plug in there.
Yeah. No, it's a good piece. Obviously he's saying that people think that they're just this kind of machine, but do you know what it was? People have, and probably rightly so over the 4 years, But I think this Dublin team were so confident in their ability and the players around them that they said, we'll celebrate, lads, when we get to 5 in a row, we'll celebrate properly. Until then, All Irelands are great, 3 in a row is great, 4 in a row is great, but other teams have done it. Nobody's done 5 in a row, and when we do it, we're going to celebrate it. And that's why, people even reading into, is Gavin gone, is Cluxton gone because he walked around in the parade. I really do say, they said they didn't, but I could see, that in their group going, we're good enough, let's go do this 5 in a row. They would have realised it, after the 2 or 3 in a row, and I was delighted to see them celebrate and show them emotions. Kilkenny in the interview afterwards, Jim Gavin bringing his dad into the press conference, I thought it was all good stuff, and I think actually, we needed that out of this Dublin team, because that's Johnny saying we're not robots, but like we were saying, but you're not really celebrating these wins. These are all Ireland wins, and you're kind of not overly celebrating them, and there's something to be overly celebrated, because these Dublin boys haven't lost one, but they're tough games when you lose them, so just enjoy the ones you win as much as you can, and enjoy the role they're on and the team they're on. Yeah,
and a couple of draws along the way suggests that they weren't handy. The Indo, the back page this morning, Larmour set to face Scots as injuries force Schmidt's hand. So the news coming from the Ireland camp is that obviously, despite the fact they put him up for press yesterday, Keith Earls won't be fit, Rob Kearney won't be fit. We know that Robbie Henshaw is gone as well. So it looks like Andrew Conway will start at fullback and Jordan Larmour will start on the wing. Still not quite sure who's going to be the centre partnership, if it's automatically going to be Gary Ringrose who comes into the team, or if Chris Farrell gets in ahead of him. I thought that maybe there would have been a chance for Ringrose to start in the wing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And there's the picture of Gareth Bale with the ball brushing off his arm. I don't know if you saw Gareth Bale's goal last night, you might have been in the car. But basically the ball brushes off his arm like that. He flicks it again and whacks it into the top corner, like a 2-1, and suddenly it's game on.
Yeah.
It was an absolute wonder strike, but no. Ball brushed off your arm, no goal.
Yeah, it's there's going to be a year of that, even the Chelsea penalty as a Chelsea fan. I was like, no, that can't be a penalty. He's right there. And then I was like, oh, geez, hold on, no, there was a few ME penalties given last year.
Yeah.
But the Irish Examiner has gone again with Klein, window of opportunity, enforcer Klein, unfazed by selection backlash. So, and there's a one down at the bottom here, boiling point. Our bullish Ireland peaking just at the right time. So have we learned from the past, and maybe those results this year were all being held for what we're going when we go out and win this World Cup, Jar.
Yeah, so after England beat us, it was like, geez, we're not going to get out of the group. Now we're like, that was all grand.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see, I guess. The Times London bookmaker blew whistle on Howley. This is the story that has convulsed World Rugby in the last couple of days. So we still don't know the precise nature of the accusations that Rob Howley is facing. But we do now know, according to the Times anyway, that it was a bookmaker who reported Rob Howley to the Welsh Rugby Union initially. I think that's how that goes. So and then the Welsh Rugby Union had to send him home. So the bookmaker made approach to them. They got a bit more information. The bookmaker came back and said, this is the full details of what we think has happened. And at that point, the Welsh Rugby Union, their CEO, flew to Japan, met with Rob Howley, and took the decision that they were going to send him home, and the investigation will continue. I think Jack Cohen was in one of the papers today saying that they've been spoken to about this, but it's a mad story that they were like, well, we all kind of knew not supposed to be betting on ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a relatively straightforward thing, so...
Yeah. Like, if it's that big, like, obviously it's to go, I was kind of in my head, I was saying, was it something like that, or was he backing on games this year or other games with other teams at home while he was watching France and Ireland? Oh, I'll throw a few bob in.
Yeah,
I fancied him, but when you start putting it on yourself or possible situations in games that you're involved in, it's... Yeah, you can't be at it. The Irish Daily Mail, full backing. Conway set to lend Kearney's 15 jersey for Scotland opener, which I'm happy with. I think he's an outstanding full back and he's got that bit of spark. He's really good under high ball, so that's a good one. In the top there, Poch Fury at Spurs flops. So disappointment there, obviously, for Pochettino that his Chargers threw in another 2-goal lead.
Spursy,
yeah.
It's not fair now that you're still calling Spursy, but...
I think, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It was Spursy,
it'll just get thrown at them if they...
Until they win the league.
Yeah, and that could be a while with the calibre of players we have. The sun has gone with it's all gone. It's all gone down the plan. So Poch tears into his stars. So I like this kind of... managers do this sometimes, and I always wonder, is it the right way to go?
You've been in dressing rooms. Have you ever in a dressing room where you're watching on the TV in the corner going, hang on, he's over this?
Yeah.
TVs in the dressing room in Croke Park, is there?
There is, yeah.
There is.
I don't think we're getting live streams of interviews and stuff, though. I think there might be games on of the game beforehand that's on before you or whatever, but they normally get shut off the minute you go into the dressing room. Kit men will have it off in 2 seconds, but yeah, look, it's something that Mourinho has done in the past. Ferguson tore into his players the odd time, but it's something that's kind of, I'd say, if it's done very rarely,
yeah,
it might be okay and it might get a reaction.
Pochettino doesn't seem very happy, does he? Generally, for the last you put the transfer window together where he's like, I don't know why you're asking me, I have nothing to do with transfers. I'm clearly, they shouldn't call me manager, they should call me head coach. All I do is coach the team, I'm no involvement in and then it's like a signing happens and he seems a little bit happier, and now it's like, they didn't play to my system today. It's all a bit like he needed to get the job last summer that he wanted, whatever that job is.
Yeah.
It feels to me like this is coming to an end.
Yeah, possibly. There was a lot of big hitters out there looking for him, and he's kind of found himself back with relatively the same squad. And but look, they were that close to winning the Champions League last year. So
many teams have got close. Like Valencia under Rafa Benitez got really close. And
he's young.
He is young, but
he's young, and.
But does he do it with Spurs? Is my fundamental question.
Yeah, probably the biggest bone of contention for him is the coffers. Like, come on, Daniel, let's go.
Yeah, spend a bit of cash.
Yeah, spend a bit of cash. We're Champions League finalists. Do you want to do one?
I'll do one here. The Guardian, the back page of the Guardian here is. It's the Spurs team looking a bit peeved after they've conceded, and it was pretty quick as well. It was by the 54th minute, so doing it the hard way. Spurs throw away 2-goal lead as Champions League bid begins with disappointing draw in Greece. And rugby betting warning, England players told to ditch phones before World Cup games. England players and staff have been told not to use their mobile phones on World Cup match days amid the Wales betting scandal that has rocked the tournament in Japan. It's not the greatest start to a World Cup, is it? Massive doping scandal, an imminent typhoon potentially ruining the opening weekend of the tournament. And one of the most prominent coaches of one of the genuine contenders sent home for a betting scandal. It's not great.
Yeah. Again, the Mirror have gone with Greeky. Poch accuses Spurs of having no fight as they throw away a 2-goal lead in Athens. He's attacked his accusation against his Tottenham players of lacking fight to kill off Olympiacos in their Champions League opener. So again, calling out his players for a lack of fight.
Yeah, that's not a great look, is it?
No, but I don't remember him doing much of that before. So maybe he's trying to, maybe they've been a bit sloppy at the start of the season. Maybe there's a bit of hangover from the Champions League. Maybe he's had this at them in training and it's not working. So he feels like maybe a public lashing might say to the players, okay, we gotta get going here and we gotta pick up our socks and get a result. And sport is funny, momentum is funny. So if they can start getting a few wins, you could hear the end of Pochettino slamming his players and accusing them of no fight.
The Examiner there on page 9 has great stuff about the launch of the basketball yesterday. So we should talk about the Super League and what your expectations are for the Super League this year and how far it can progress.
Yeah, I think it's. I think the league is obviously getting more attention as the years go on, because I think basketball is becoming more and more into people's lives. I think a lot of kids are getting a lot of basketball now through their phones, and I think on Saturday nights in halls all around the country, you've got the best Irish players and good foreign players that are coming over from America who are exciting to watch and who can play the game. And if you're a basketballer that wants to make it and you're a teenager or a kid, they want to go to the games now and see them. It's the closest they can get, and this season is going to be really exciting. Temple Oak, who've been very strong the last few years, have gotten stronger. They've teamed up with Griffiths College, who were with Swords Thunder last year, who folded. Marion are always going to UCD Marion, always inside there with the college. They've good backing as well. The fallout from Thunder has been interesting because they had a good core of Irish guys. So if their team goes out of the league, they got to find other places to go. So Isaac Westbrooks, who's a great player, his dad was Jerome Westbrooks, right, one of the greatest of all time, to come over here. Isaac is that leader, that gritty point guard, classy player. He's gone to Killester, right, which would have been, he would have played with them at the start of his career as well. So Charlie Coombs and Kev Lacey, two other great players that were with Thunder, have gone to St. Vincent's in Dublin, or DCU Saints as they're called now. So they've gotten stronger that way, which is interesting.
It's obviously disappointing that so Swords is a massive population base. It's disappointing that they couldn't sustain a team there, but sometimes for leagues to progress, the right thing is for powerful teams to emerge so that you can have 5 or 6 really good teams.
Yeah, and I think that's what we had last year, and I think we're not going to be far off of this year is teams. We played games up in Swords, and yes, there's a big community up there, but their atmosphere was dead. There was no crowd enticed into the game, or they did great things now. Actually, a really interesting thing that we learned off them is they had a collection. They told us to bring kind of toys with us. Right. They were sending it out to Africa, Christmas or whatever, and really interesting. And we took that home back to Tralee, and we had a night in ourselves where we asked everybody that comes to our games to bring something, and we'd send it out. So, getting the crowd to the game and having an atmosphere in the game, I think, is very important for the league. And it's if you're a youngster and you go to a game that has atmosphere and it has lights out, smoke machines, loud music, commentating on the game to get the crowd going, and you try and figure out a way, how do we entice people to the game? Do we allow all our members to allow their kids in for free and just ask the parents to pay? But I think for the league to keep going on the trajectory it's going, I think that's a big thing we have to really work on. So, sponsorship and people talking about the Irish Super League is important, and he did great work last year in it. And the more outlets that talk about it, maybe sponsors are more willing to get involved, which is very important for our game, because it costs money to fly these Americans over, to put them up, to pay them every week. Yeah. It's Ireland's biggest indoor sport, but it was huge on the radar 30 years ago, and it's starting that climb back up now. And but it's a costly business, so we need sponsors, and to entice sponsors in, when you approach them and they go, okay, what am I getting for my buck? And you're kind of going,
where's my coverage?
Yeah, where's my coverage? The Star newspaper covered the league. They've got a big spread in it every Wednesday and a build-up on Saturdays about it. But I think we need all the media just to give it a touch every Monday and let people know the scores, and let people know that that we're Garvey's Tralee Warriors, and Colester or Pro Bill Colester, and if that's been called out, it makes it easier for us to go knocking on these people's doors to get money, because if we don't have money, we can't have a league, you know. The Hula Hoops sponsor the National Cup, but we've no sponsor for the National Super League.
Right.
So, you know, again, Basketball Ireland, if they had a bit of support in that, maybe they could help the clubs, you know, go down an avenue of getting more people into games. How do we, you know, help them promote their games, help them make the show a bit more than it is.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Correct, it's a knock, exactly.
Explode.
It's a knock-on effect, and you know, they do great work. Like Basketball Ireland Online have won awards every year over the last 3 years. They do. Mary Maguire does unbelievable work inside there. Her online presence is great. The banter between teams is brilliant. So that the Twitter accounts of teams is fascinating. DCU Saints been really good on top of that list. UCD Marion very good. So banter before games, even though they're playing each other, it's good to see that the clubs kind of building it up before the games. So just, you know, get your youngsters that are interested in basketball, get them out to the sport. Their local team is important, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure, and we'll definitely be talking about it as the season progresses.